So hi everybody, good evening. Um, how do you do? It's been it's been a period of learning on and on. So far we've learned to use Excel. We started from formulas and functions. We got into pivot tables and data analysis with Excel, creating interactive dashboards. And I've seen some of your dashboards, very impressive. Messi, I love your progress. Yes, you have shown great wit in the learnings and consistency. I love that. Well done. Keep it up. Today we'll be getting into a very interesting aspect of our learning. Um, Power Query. Power Query is a tool embedded in Excel for what do you call it, data cleaning, transformation, importing data. If you want to import data, you want to clean data, transform data, and other from different data sources. Power Query is your guy, and it really helps streamline data. It's interesting, like in the whole data cleaning, especially and data transformation. It is so good that it helps you avoid repeated tasks. So if you get same set of data every every time, and you have to clean it every time you get that data, let's say a monthly sales or a sales report that has this conforming, you have to arrange it and all that stuff, do computation. With Power Query, it gets the job done for you, and you all you just need to do is import your data, perhaps refresh, click on the refresh button, and every step is applied to it. Good stuff. So um, this is the data set we'll be working with. I did some rearrangement. This is the first sales data set we worked with, even though I did some cleaning, just so that we would see how Power Query works. Here we have the sales records from 2010 to 2017, each year being in a different sheet. And then we have some mappings, product mapping. Product mapping has the order ID and has the item type. We can, yeah, an item type. So we will see how we can map them into this sheets. And regional mapping has region and has country. Here we just have country, so we're going to see how we can merge and append data into Power Query. Okay, so um, let us take a look at the Power Query interface. So we'll start with Excel. Power Query is the same in is used it's embedded in Excel and also Power BI. It's the same tool. So as we are learning it here, we are also going to learn it in we're also going to learn it in Power in Power. We're also going to use it rather in Power BI. Same learning, same workings, just different tools. Okay, let's get on with it. The data we'll be analyzing, like I showed earlier, is this data. We have sales records for different years in different Excel sheets in a workbook, and we have this product mapping. Let us see how we can transform the data such that we can easily analyze it, and make sense out of it. Bring it all into one and make sense. I know conventionally now, if what most of us would do if they're like, oh, bring this data together, we'll go, this is 2010, we'll go to 2011, copy it, Control C, come here and paste it, and we do that over and over again, that kind of thing, until we get everything. Well, why this may work, it's not consistent and it will take time, it is prone to errors because you're, I mean, it's human effort and then just doesn't waste a lot of time. So let us see um, how we can navigate better. So I'll just close this file. So open a blank Excel sheet and I go to data, the tab called data, the data tab. And when you go to data tab, you see get data. Get data, then you see from different sources. But if you click on the get data, it gives multiple options from where you can get data from. From file, you see import data from Excel workbook, CSV file or text file, from an XML file, JSON, PDF. Yes, you can import data from PDFs, from a folder or from a SharePoint folder. You can import data from there. So different ways you can import data from an SQL saver, an Oracle saver, and different database storage. The database is basically where data is stored. You have Oracle, Azure, and wherever you store your data. At the simplest form, an Excel sheet can be a database where you store data, just like we're going to use now, like a file. Yeah. So we have from Power Platform and the rest of them. So a whole lot of options to import data from. But here we would be importing from an Excel workbook, since that is the file. So we go to from file and then select from Excel workbook, since our data set is an Excel workbook. So it opens a pop-up box for you to select. I have mine in my downloads and I would select sales data Power Query and I import. So it shows this navigator and it shows the list of all the sheets. Remember, if you remember, all the sheets in the Excel table. Sometimes we may have data formatted as a table in our Excel sheets. It will show us that it will all populate here. 1 second, please. Okay, so I want to select, when you want to select multiple sheets, which I want to select literally everything, I click on the check button and I'm selecting everything. I'll just check all the boxes. Here it shows the preview of every file. Sometimes we have very long files, very long data sets, and it's truncated. It just shows, so it's like a preview view, that kind of thing. So you check, oh, this is the data I want here, and or if you just want one sheet, you click on, when you're done importing it, you can click on transform data. And when you transform data, it opens this interface, and this is the Power Query editor that you can see. The Power Query editor, right? Okay, so let us dig in. Let us have a look at the Power Query editor and what it has to offer. So the first thing here we have is file. file, you have close and load to, discard, options, Basically, when you finish your transformation and all, you can click on close and load. Or if you have a place to load to, close and load to, we would see how all that is done in this class. Okay, so next we have the home tab. It's just like Excel, with different tabs having different features. We have the home tab. In the home tab, we have also the close and load tab. We have a refresh tab. The refresh tab helps us to refresh our data set in case the data set is populated back end. Like I said, this is an automation interface where you don't have to do repeated tasks. Okay, so data comes in, and if you populate the data wherever it is and you just click on the refresh button like this, everything populates and the latest files populate, and it conforms to the same transformation you have done prior. So we have properties, advanced editor, manage. So rather than just go all around, you can take a look at it. We just see the different things you can do. So you have the choose column, where you can keep or remove columns, more like selecting columns. You have remove column. You can remove columns. So in data transformation or data cleaning, it's very interesting with Power Query. It's fun. Once you master Power Query, you would not even want to clean data outside Power Query. That's how nice it is. So keep rows, remove rows, keep rows, remove rows. What else? Split colons. You could split a colon. We are going to I wish. Okay, I'll just do. You can group and a lot of things. You can change the format of your data. You can merge queries, append queries. We're going to look at all that. You can replace values and so on and so forth. Your data sources, change your data sources, add new data sources. You can add multiple data sources to your reports. In the tab transform, you see more options. Transpose, dictate data, so many options. Fill, replace values, power, and pivot colon, on pivot colon, move, convert list, just a whole lot of interesting stuff that we are going to explore as much as we can. There's also the add column tab, where you can add column from example. We're going to see how that is done. Custom columns, invoke column function, conditional columns, index columns, like adding numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 indexes, duplicate columns, and or some formatting, lowercasing, uppercasing, trim, clean. These are things we did in data cleaning, if you recall. And some computations we can do here and there, and basic formatting. Right, this view formats how you want to view your data when you're working with it. If you want to change the format type, monospace, if you want to add a distribution column that shows the breakdown, column profile, I mean, those could come in handy with some complex data, but I don't always use it. Advanced editor. So advanced editor is where your query, the computations are actually done. So it's more like a low code, no code interface where you are doing basic stuff, select this, do this. But if you want to see the syntax going on behind and all, this is how it is done. Query dependency shows you how different sheets interact with each other. It's more like where they are connected from. So here you see it's connected from my download file, and then these are all mapped from here. Yeah. So sometimes if you have a whole lot of data, you want to see how they connect with each other. Interesting stuff. Now, a very beautiful aspect of Power Query is this colon here, this pane rather, the query settings pane. If you mistakenly exit and you go to your view, you see query settings, you bring it back. Now here you have the name of your query or your table, whatever you're working on. See, it's 2010 here because we've selected 2010 sheet. If we go to 2011, we see that for each of the data sets. Now, this other part is called applied steps. Applied steps show you every step that you have applied in the transformation of your data or the cleaning of your data. So you can go back to a previous step. It shows from the beginning, from the data importation. If I click on source is the source of the data. So from the source, if you see here, if you look at the formula, this thing, you'll see it's from my downloads folder in my computer. Data science. You can import data from different places, from a Google Sheet. Online, you can import from multiple ranges of places. SharePoint folder, OneDrive folder, and the likes. It's pretty robust. So it shows the steps we've taken in our data transformation. Here's the source. Next is navigation. The navigation here, if you see 2020, 2020, 2010, just shows where you've gone to for this. Next, promoted header is would see all that, and change data type. I'm just going to clear some things, just come by default, but I'll clear it to show you what it looks like. So most times you import data, you would see some, especially change types, some auto corrections, steps, some applied steps done by default. If they are not what you would want, you could always go back and change them. Okay, so let's get on with this. Now, this is our data sets, like I showed you. We've imported all the years from 2010 to 2017 from this sales data. We would want to transform them and merge them into one. We're going to add here you have product mapping, we have the order ID, and we have the item type. And for the regional mapping, we have region and colon and country. In our sheets, we have, it's just like looking them up. We're going to see that. Let's just go step by step with the data sets. Okay. Here, this is our header bar. So let me see showing some parts of this chart. We have this icon. We have this like a table icon here. On that, in the serial number column, if you click on it, you see some items like copy table, use first row as header, add costume, keep rows, keep top rows, keep bottom rows, remove top rows, remove bottom rows, and different stuff. Merge queries, append queries, very cool stuff. Now, for each column, if you look, you see the column name. Beside it, you see this icon for each of them. This shows the format of each column, right? It shows the format, the file format of each column. But then here we are. This is our header column, and then we do not want column 1, column 2, column 3 as our headers. Here are our actual headers in row 1, right? So what we'll do is go to this icon here. So you can do this from different places actually. Go to this icon here, and then you see this option, use first row as header. If I click on it, see what happens. The first row goes to the header, and we have our headers in the right place. Now also notice something. Look at the applied steps. I had said it shows every step you've taken. So when we clicked on promoted use first row as header, you see it here, promoted headers. If you click on the icon, you'd see promoted all scale. Okay, basically promoted header. So it took the first row. Next thing, one thing you want to be very conscious of, just like we do it in Excel, is the data type for each data set. So like I said, the icon beside, once you click on it, okay, once you look at the column, you look at the icon beside to be sure it is in the right format. I don't know if there is any way to zoom this. I don't think so. I hope we can see. So I'll click here. Once you click on it, you see different options. This our country column is a text column, so I'll click on text. I'll go to text and put the format that way. Insert. Most times you promote header. Most times you use first row as headers. It's by default it tries to format your columns, but sometimes you still want to be very sure it does it correctly. So column by column, you can go here. And why that is very important is especially for things like order ID. If it's dictating it now, you may see it as a number column. While it is a number column, but it may not be ideal. Other numbers, most times we prefer them as a text column, because if we're aggregating, it may come and start summing it up, but we don't want to sum order ID since they are for reference purposes. Anyways, so this is a text. I'll change this to text. I'll go to the next one. Sales channel is also a text. I'll change it to text. Order priority is a text. Change to text. Order date is a date, so I'll click on drop down and change it to date. Formatting your data is very important properly so that you don't get errors when you're doing your computation. Now I'll just do the same for this order ID. I'll put it as a text. Yes, because we're going to be using it to do some mapping. Or shipment date is a date. Unit sold is number. Oh boy, sorry. Unit sold is a whole number. Yeah, and unit price is, sorry, I'm using two screens, so let me see if I can minimize. So it's the options are entering on that screen. I think this should do it. So Oh, it's you entering. Let me see if it's gonna comply here. Okay, nice. So unit price is in dollars, so we can put it in dollars currency. Unit costs, you can put in currency, either currency or decimal places, whatever works for you. But same thing, currency is nice because you put it to two decimal places. Okay. So we basically have to do this for each of them. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So we've done for 2010. And you know the beautiful thing about this? Whatever you do not have to repeat it. You don't have to repeat it every time you want to work on your reports. You just need to populate your reports properly, hit the refresh button, and it applies to everything. And we're going to try that out. We're going to look at some of that. I'm trying to say. So for 2011, 2011, the first thing we did, we want to promote header. So remember, same whole analysis process. You go through your data set first to understand it, then you know what you need to do. So here we have the country, we have the actual headers in the first row. So we click on this drop down and use first row as headers. So it goes to the headers. Next we want to do is, okay, so it had already done the formatting for us. So we'll just go through to see if we are chill with the formatting. So far, other dates, I'll just leave it as a text. Shipment date, cool. Units sold, numbers, great. Shipment date, units sold, numbers, cool. Units price, decimal place, that could also work. But since we put the order in dollars, I'll just put it in dollars. Sorry if you cannot see the options here. I think it's moving to my second screen. And on and on it goes. So it's usually said that the difficult part is the automation, or the taxi part is the automation. Once you get it done, you are one click away from having your automations do the work for you. Your knowledge of Power Query, puts you on an advanced level in Excel. So once you're able to navigate your way around Power Query, you can confidently tell when asked that your competency level in, see the error I made here, instead of currency I put alphabets. So once you're good with this, you confidently can go out there and tell people, or in an interview or so, that your competency level in Excel is advanced. Be bold enough to say it, because whatever you'll be taxed would not be outside the scopes of your learning, I assure you that. And then don't go saying 100%, because learning never ends, and these technologies keep advancing. Every now and then there is a new addition to everything. Okay, that's for 2014. So I'm basically just going to replicate the same thing yeah, like I said, when you use first rule as header, promote header, it automatically brings up a changed changes the file type, you just check to be sure it is what you want it to be and how you want it to be, and then you're good. One more to go after this. Alas, use first rule as header. Currency, dollars, and then currency. Okay. Okay, product mapping. Use first rule as header. Order number, we use it as a text, and item type of text too. Yeah, good. The region mapping, where we map the regions and the country, would also format it, move the headers, text, and this is perfect. Okay, so we've been able to transform our data, arrange it in a proper order. Now, one of the reasons why this is important is that if we're going to like interact with all the data together, they have to have common headers. They must have common headers for them to identify each other in most cases. Okay, so now we've done that. Next thing we want to do is merge all these sheets together. I would rather say join all the sheets together. Now, if you look at this part of our tab, in the home tab, there's this part called combine. We have two types of two ways we can join multiple data sets together. We have the merge queries, merge as new, and then we have the append queries, append as new, merge queries and append queries. Now, these two get the job of merging data sets done, just in different ways. Now, merging queries, we merge colons. So we take colons from one table and add it to another table. We'll see how we do that. But then when it comes to append queries, it has to do with rows. So simply put, merge, like you see here, merge queries, colons, or merging colons, like you want to add another colon here, just like exactly, it's just like VLOOKUP. Okay, and then append queries, we're adding new rows, populating the rows. It's just like HLOOKUP or that kind of thing. So let us see this in action. First of all, we want to join all the data between 2020 and 2017 together, right? One thing you must ensure is all the headers are correct. They are the same number of headers, they are the same, spelled the same way, there is no space in one and space in another, else it's going to give duplicate mergers. So the first table, 2010, I'll go to append query. Now if I click on append query directly, if I click on the drop down, you see append queries and you see append queries as new. What this means, to append query, you want all the data sets to populate into the current sheet that you are on. But append as new means you want them to join, to merge in a separate file. Let me show you what I mean. Now, if you look at this order date column, this is what we use to separate. These years are based on the order date. This is all 2010, right? Let us append 2011 data into this. So selecting this, I go to append query, or rather append queries, not append as new, and two tables. Yes, I'll leave it at two tables, and table to append. I click on drop down and then I click on 2011. I click on OK. See what happens? We have the 2010 data and it populates the 2011 data. So it brings all the 2011 data and populates it here on the same sheet. Okay, that is what append does. Append adds rows of data to your sheet. And remember, applied step shows everything you have done. So if you made an error, if you wanted to do something before you did the order, you can come over here and go to where you want to correct and correct. Or if you made a mistake in the step and you want to take it off, you can exit out, which I have done. Now, for the purpose of this, I would want to append as new. So I want a new sheet for all the data sets. So I'll click on append as new. It gives me the option. How many data sets? How many tables? 2 tables or 3 or more tables? We have multiple tables. So I'll select, 10 is already here. So I'll select 11 to 17 and click on add. You can do that one at a time, but you can also select and get it all done. This is just what I want to append, the years only, not the other one. And be careful not to duplicate the data. If I select 2010 again and add, it's going to duplicate the data. You can click on this and exit. You don't want to do that, so that you're not giving the wrong information. So I finish this and I click on OK. So notice it forms another table with all the data sets present. Now notice something here in this our ordered ID. Remember when I was editing on each row, I was saving it as I was changing the date format to the data format to a text format, right? And most typically text aligned to the left while numbers aligned to the right. See, this is a number aligned to the right, then this is a text aligned to the left. It's standard. So I merge my data set and I observe, there are some of these data sets that are still aligned to the right. That means number format, it may be a problem, right? So I look here and I see that, it's my 2012 data. So I could go back to the 2012 data and change the order ID type to a text. If I go back to my append, see, it has formatted. And that is the beauty of automation. You do not have to repeat tasks. Another thing I could have done was to come here also and change the format to a text format here. But sometimes I just like to keep things uniform, so whatever I did in all these other tables before I merge them, I do the same here. So you can change the name of the table from here, double tapping and changing the name, right clicking and clicking on rename, or from here changing the name to, I'll just put all sales, just call it, and then if you notice, all sales, it's changed. Okay, now when the table, you notice this all sales, this table we appended, if you come here, source, it shows the applied steps. If you click on these settings, it shows you every data you put. So if you Like I said, if you made an error, if you want to remove a particular year, you come here and exit out, and it's going to reflect here. Data query is very so much fun and interactive. So that is how you join data together. You append them, append queries if you want them to populate, right? Now the interesting thing is if we go to our data set, and that's this data set where we are feeding it from, that Excel sheet that we're feeding it from, and add more columns from there, add more rows rather, populate it, and we come back here and click on refresh, it's going to populate here automatically, and every step we apply to it is going to reflect here without us having to do it again. Isn't that cool? Okay, so I'll pause now for some questions, if any. Any questions? Okay, no questions for now, so we'll just go on. So here we have our country, we have sales channel, other priority, we have other ID, other dates, and everything. Then what are these two other sheets? We have a product mapping where we have our item type and then our order ID. And then we have the regional mapping where we have our region and country. Now this is a question to the house, anybody can answer. This is our main data set, and we have this. In Excel, if we want to merge this data together, what tools are we going to use? We have our product mapping, we have the item type and have other ID. Here we have region and country, and then this is our data set. We want to bring those data sets here. How are we going to do that? Anybody? In Excel, normally, if you want to get data, get a table from somewhere and
We
merge
can
it
use
something.
XLOOKUP.
XLOOKUP, thank you. Can also use VLOOKUP. Know that. Okay. So, what are the criterias? Messi, what are the conditions for using a lookup? For example, now we have this product mapping, we have item type and other ID, and now all cells we have this data set here. What conditions are used to when you want to look up a data, what are the conditions? What and what must both of the tables have? Messi, question thrown at you. Okay, delay to respond. James, question at you.
A primary key, sir.
A what?
Primary key.
Okay, so what's a primary key?
A primary key is something identical that is on both ends of the same data set or
No,
different data
no,
sets.
no, 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 no. No, James, you must talk technically. I want the response technically. So you said it's something similar. Anything similar, I can come here and look.
Something,
Offline is here, similar, and I go to another, I say offline. It's
okay,
similar.
something similar. Example, an ID or the ID number that can be on both on different data sets involved.
Okay, that's fine. So a primary key is actually a colon. A primary key is a colon that is identical to another colon in a data set. For example, in this product mapping, we have order ID here, and in the all sales data set, we also have order ID here. So that colon is the primary key, right? If you say something that is identical, it could be anything. It could be a cell, it could be a value or something, but that's why I said it's not something, it's a colon, literally a colon, right? So the colon is used to merge the data sets together. The idea is interact, hey, look at this and give me the corresponding item type for this colon. So let us do something like that. Let us merge the data together. All sales. So we want to bring, if you notice here, we do not have products, we don't have the item types here. So we want to import it here. We have this order sheet, right? So we're going to use this order ID to look up the order ID here and return the item type, just like VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. Let's see how that is done. So first of all, here I select the colon I want to merge. I may or not do that. I don't need to do that. And I go to merge. So in merge you have merge queries, or you have merge queries as new. I want to merge queries, not merge them as new. I want them in this sheet, right? So I'll select merge queries. Now it asks to ask you what, select a table and matching colon. The matching colon is the primary key, right? So here for us, we want to take it from product mapping, right? And our primary key, the matching colon, is the order ID. So I select the colon ID here, and I select the colon ID here. And if you notice, the selection matches 100 of 100, right? And I click on OK. What that does is that it brings that table here. Okay. Now you see this icon that looks like an arrow left and right here. If I click on it, you see different options. Expand, aggregate. You want to expand, and then you now select the items you want. The only item I want is the item type here. Use original column prefix. No, I don't want to do that. So I just want the item type, and I click on OK. And here we go. We have our item types intact in our master sheet now. We can move it to the beginning or wherever we want it to be, maybe after the order ID, item types, and that is good. Next thing we want to do is to get the region mapping to these sheets. Does anybody want to give it a shot? Okay, all sales. You click on merge data. Since we are merging columns now, we're merging rows, so we would use append, merge queries. Now this time around, we want to get what the regional mapping, right? So we have to get the matching columns. So we have the country here, and we have the country here. This is the region we want to get. So it matches 100 over 100, and we click on OK. Now this icon by the right, we click on it and select only the region, since that is what we want. And voila, all our regions are here. You can either drag it to the beginning or right click on the colon. Right click on the colon and you see move to beginning. You can do that, or you can just drag it to the beginning. And here we go. Have a region here. So we have successfully mapped our data and we have it all complete. We have the region here, we have the item type, and our data is complete. Okay? So let us look at some other things we can do with our data sets. Okay, someone has a question. Okay, Jeremiah, please ask.
Sorry, that is a mistake, sorry.
Okay, no problem. So we can choose to merge, if you want to merge columns together, more like concatenate, or text join. You can do that here. Let's try to maybe merge region with country. Just trying things out. If you select region and you select the country together and you go to transform, you'd see an option merge columns. So two things are involved and we should take note of this. Anyway, let me just do this first and I'll tell you. So you see merge columns. If you click on merge columns, now ask you what is the separator. Click on drop down, it gives you some options: comma, colon, equals to, semicolon, space. Maybe I'll just, so you can custom and put whatever you want. I'll just put a dash, or maybe twice, and okay, new column name, optional merged. I don't leave it as merged, and click on OK. So see what happened here. It merged the region and the country together with the separator a dash dash. Right. So let's say we wanted to split these columns together. Want to split them separate rather. Select the column you want to split, and then you can either right click, you see split column, or you come here to the top under transform split column. In the home tab you see you have it in the same location, split column. There are just different ways you can work around the same thing in Power Query. And by delimiter you have different options. By delimiter, by number of characters, by position, lowercasing, uppercasing, different options depending on your scenario. Here it's by delimiter that one splits. Sometimes it automatically dictates the delimiter. Here we used a double dash, so you go for each occurrence. So you can have leftmost, you can have rightmost, each occurrence. So we want each occurrence because we just use it once. If it's a multiple, we can choose that rightmost or leftmost, anyone goes depending. So each occurrence, I'll click on OK, and there we go, we have it split. So we can now rename it. We can rename our headers by double tapping the header, or I think you can right click also on it and rename. Okay, it's not there. Anyways, double tap and then call this region, and this other one country. So you can split, you can merge, and the likes of it. Okay, next thing we want to do, there is a whole lot one can do, but next thing we want to do is the computations. Now, just to point out something, sometimes you may want to go and open an Excel sheet, an Excel document, right, or you're going to get an error. Excel can't be opened because A dialog box is open. So you see this as a dialog box. You cannot open Excel as it is. Anyways, let us see what our data looks like, and then we'll come back and continue. Remember, every step we had put here is reflecting every step you take. So if you subject it to new data in the same format, it is going to, all these steps are going to apply to the new data, hence no need for repetitive tasks. Okay, when you finish transforming your data or cleaning it or merging it, here we have meshed queries together, that's merged different tables together. We have also appended queries together, that is rows and columns. We have looked at splitting and joining. We have looked at data type change and transformation and all that and all that. You may want to turn off your cameras if they're on. Mr. Adewale, your camera is on. Okay, so going on, when you're done with your data set and everything, you come here, file, close and load. I'm just going to start with close and load for today. I don't want to go into close and load too, so that it doesn't get all complex on day one. So close and load, select, and let's see what happens. This is the sheet we opened. This was our 2010 to 2017 data. Oh no, this is not it. So basically this was the file I tried opening but did not open because Power Query was open, so I just closed this. So this is our file. This is our all sales sheet, the regional mappings, 2010 to 20 everything data. Right, we didn't put anything here, so we can delete. But yeah, everything comes in here, and this is our final sheet. And if you look at this place, queries and connections, it just shows all the queries we did. Right, so there we go. Just a recap, originally this was the data, or rather I'll just open this. This was the data set, this was the Excel sheet, our raw data, this was how it was, and then we imported it into this Excel sheet through went to data and then get data from Excel workbook. We selected it and it took us to, for those that were not here, where we could select our data. We selected the data and then clicked on imports. It took us to Power Query. I'm just rerunning it. We selected all the tables we wanted, which was basically everything, and we clicked on transform. When we clicked on transform, it took us to the Power Query interface where we did what we did. I just had to do this recap for all those who were not here when we started. Okay, so having done this, we have our data cleaned, meshed together into one in the right format, and we do not have need to do any other thing. We can carry on with our analysis from here. We have 2010 to 2017 here. So what if you wanted to add some other things to this table? Maybe let us add, okay, we just have the unit costs. Let's do some computations in this our table. You click on the data, and you see when you click on this data set, you see query. If you click on query, you see edit, and once you click on edit query, it takes you to the Power Query interface. But there are some times you may come and then you click and you don't see the query option. It happens. You could click out and click again, it may likely come. But should it not come, you can go to your data tab and select queries and connections. Once you click on it, it will bring these options here. You can right click on any of them or the one you want to edit and select edit. It takes you to the Power Query interface where you can carry out your analysis. Okay, so now we want to add some columns. We have unit costs, we have unit price, we have units sold, we have unit price, we have unit costs, and other computations you would want to carry out. Okay. So let's have total revenue. Total revenue is units sold times unit price, right? That's the amount that was sold. So there are different ways we can do this. I'm going to show you a number of them. So if you go to the tab add column, I select these two, unit cost and unit sold, and you see statistics, you see standards, scientific. So unit sold is revenue. The revenue is unit sold times unit price, right? So I select the two and I click on multiply, and there we have it. Create another column for the total revenue, the revenue for that. So I'm going to put this revenue, and voila, there you go. Let's say, what else do we want? Unit cost. Let us see unit costs. Rather, let us see the total costs rather. So I would select unit sold and then unit costs. Go to the standards and click on multiply again, and voila, we have our total costs. Now let's say we want to get the profit. Profit is what? Profit is revenue minus total costs. So I select revenue and I select total cost and I go to standard and I click on subtract. And there you have it, the profits. So I'll call this profits. And there you go. Clean this in. When you're done with it, you go to your home, close and load, and wait for it to load. And there you have it. Everything populates as should be. As always, you want to remember to save your file. In your desired location. Okay. Now you know this is how the file was like when we were creating our dashboard and all that. So like something like this, and then we from here created our pivot tables and pivot charts and created our dashboards, right? So imagine you have some data sets feeding and populating. Let's say it keeps populating on and on, on and on, and then you now have it. Let me just put in, okay, let me just put that, and then you have it mapped to a master database through Power Query, and all you need to do is to click on refresh. So if you right click on this and click on refresh, let me do something. I want to show you something so that we see what I'm trying to say. So I'll just create a pivot table, insert pivot table in existing worksheet. So I'll just select it here, okay, and then I'll put total costs. Okay, I'll put total revenue, I'll put total cost and total profit, and maybe the year. Let me format this to the dollar. Okay, so let our eyes be on the 2011 data. I think that is the one I populated. Let me see. Okay, 2010 rather. So 2010. So in 2010, the sum of revenue 19M, total cost 12, and total profit 6. And then data is populated at the back end. Let's say the data keeps updating, and I've created, I think I should just go all out for this sample pivot charts. Okay, how do I do this? Oops. Okay, let's keep our eyes on 2010. Okay, so let's say at the back end the data is being updated, and all I need to do is to come to this place and right click and click on refresh, and then here you see under it's running. And so what was it before? I don't even remember. Unit prices. Has it increased? What was it before? I don't even remember. Okay, so you come here and refresh. Yikes. So now I do not know if I put, if there was a remove duplicate clause there. I don't think there was. Okay, it's not reflecting here. Oh, okay, yeah. So what happened is, so this put, so once you populate your data set, you save it. You have to click on save. So I click on save. I think you may even need to close it, but I'm not so sure of that. I don't think you may need to do that. So let us see. So I come to this final data set that I clean, right click, and I click on refresh. and then you see running query in there and so on. It is still the same thing. Okay, let me try closing the file and try the refresh again. So if I click on the order dates and select 2010, you see more of the data has populated, so it is here. Now we come to the pivot and right click and refresh. Oh, there we have it. If you see, it goes. So let's try again. Let's add more data to the sheet. So our source file now. Maybe let's do for 2017. Okay, and then we save it and close the file. And since I just want everything to refresh at once, so now our lookout is for 2017. So I'll put this in maybe purple. So here it's 13M 19. In fact, I think I should just filter for only 2017. So we have the full picture. Okay, we may not even need the on for rows only. Yeah. Okay, so we populated the sheets for 2017. Let's say it's been updated, and we come here. So you could come to data. When you come to data and do refresh all, select refresh all, it refreshes everything here. So let's just wait and see. Oops. I'm just gonna do that again. Refresh all. Yes, and there you have it. So ensure it has refreshed from what we've seen so far. So from basically what has happened, if you look at the source file, let me just show. If you look at the source file, here we just have country, channel, order priority, shipment listing, right? For each of them, we have the 2 columns, item type, we have regional mapping and this, and we did order transformation into one Excel sheet, into one sheet, right? One table rather. We did all that and it came into one table, all the years, and anything that is populated out there is now mapped to this query, and every computation we've done comes in, is applied to it. So if we go back to our Power Query again, go to query, everything, if we look at our 2011, our 2010 rather, see it's populated more now. If you look at our 2017, there is more, right? So it passes through, and every step we applied also applies to it. So that is Really good stuff. It saves you the stress of doing the same task. So picture this, applying this to yourselves, to your daily tasks. If you're currently working with data, if it is the same report you do every time, you have to populate a sheet or something and then create reports like charts and everything. Power Query is your guy. You just need to maintain the same, as far as they maintain the same rows and columns, the same headers rather, the same pattern, same structure. You can always optimize it and get your reporting done. That is the goal of automation. Anything manual is time consuming, both for you and for the business, and here goes nothing. Okay, so there's a whole lot more to Power Query. We're going to stop there for today. I'm going to take questions if any, but I would want you to practice this. Go back and practice. In our next class, we'll also look at importing data from a Google Sheet or something. We'll look at other sources, and then we'll look at other things you can do with data with Power Query. There's a whole lot. I'll get some data set that will look at pivoting and unpivoting data to make it very interactive and very interesting. We'll bring back some data sets we had worked with Excel, and we'll see how easily we would be able to work with them in Power Query. Way easier than what we had done in the data transformation aspect. Transitioning from here, we would get into Power BI, and like I said, this particular step in Power Query is what you get to do when you're getting into Power BI. You're going to see it, and it's like killing two birds with one stone. Okay. So, any questions, please? No questions. Okay, James, please ask. Bring it on.
That James don't know everything. Last
James.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, I wanted to ask you,
Uh-huh.
Power Query, is it like the back end of is it Excel?
Yeah.
Or is it just a
Okay. Oh, it's just a
tool?
you could classify it as both back end and tool. It could be a back end tool. Yeah, because it gets the job done at the back end and you get your results at the front end. Right. So it does the calculations. I personally prefer it, especially for some calculations. Sometimes calculations make your calculations make your Excel sheet heavier, right? Especially when you have multiple calculations, like it just makes it heavier because when you open an Excel sheet with a lot of calculations, it opens and it starts recalculating them just to like for the sheet to run properly. And if you have a low computer processor, especially, it's going to take a lot of time for it to load. So sometimes when you have sheets with many formulas and you open and then it's taking some time to load, it is because of the formulas there, many formulas. But with Power Query, it also makes your presentation very clean, right? It does this clean job for you where you do not, you have your data, you've done the transformation in, and and then you've done the revenue compute, you've done all the computations, the cleaning and all, and there are no single formulas here. It is very cool stuff. Now next class we're going to look at this data. We're going to see how we can extract text, there's just so much you can do. You can from a date column you can extract the year, you can extract the month without having to put formula equal to year, and then colon and all that stuff. And I'm just tempted to do it right now. I'll just allow myself to fall for the temptation. Yeah, like these other dates, I have just extracted the years from it. Very simple, straight to the point, and the beautiful part is you don't have to do these calculations over and over again. All you just need to do is update your data, replace your data in the same source where you're taking it from, or add it here and run your refresh. It's gonna apply to everything you've done. Okay,
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
you're welcome. Mr. Nima, you wanted to ask a question earlier?
Well, I think it's the question I'm supposed to. Good evening to you, Jason.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, okay, the question I want to ask actually what James just asked now. I wanted to find out whether it's an improved aspect of Excel.
Excel, okay.
But, yeah.
So in the earlier versions of Excel, they were they were not there. It was not there, right? I think some years. I don't know. In 2016 Excel, I think it is not straightforward. Some of the previous years, I don't have these details exactly right at the top of my head. Some of the previous years of Excel, you would have it as an add-on where you could insert it, but it is part of the whole Excel infrastructure right now through data. So this data tab helps you carry out different data stuff, like, and then this section, get and transform data, helps you import data from different sources, and you want to clean it, you pass through Power Query before it gets to the Excel sheet. Very cool stuff. Just increase the scalability and the usability of the tool. Yeah, that's why it's mapped under advanced Excel. So welcome to the world of advanced Excel, guys. You guys are doing well. Thank you. So
Thank you.
welcome, sir. Any other questions? None? Okay, in the absence of no other questions, we'll call it a night. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you learned something new today. Have a good night rest.
Thank you.
See you on
Thank you.
Tuesday. So
Thank you,
please
sir. Good night.
replicate this,
Okay.
this, and then it would help you. So at the next class, we'll take it up from there and go further. Like I said, this is all going to build up into Power BI. Yeah, and good stuff. All right. Bye for now.